It's a rainy autumn afternoon. You're alone in your house, drinking tea, watching your favorite YouTube video. But there's this eerie feeling that someone's watching you. No, it can't be, you say to yourself. It only happens in horror movies. You know it's all in your head, and yet you can't seem to get rid of this feeling.
Almost. Hello?
Hallo, Kristen. Ik vroeg me af van jou op het moment vandaag.
Hello and welcome. Today I will dive in the eerie world of Stalker films and try to figure out what kind of techniques do filmmakers use to create the eerie feeling of being stalked. Kristen, a Dutch psychological thriller made by Dutch filmmaker Mark Wijstra, follows Kristen, a young woman who is cleaning her father's cafe on the 1st January after the New Year's party. She suddenly gets a phone call from a mysterious man who seems to be stalking her and knows more about her than anyone else in her life.
If people ask me how I created the feeling of being stalked in the film Kristen, I would say it's multiple reasons, so it's a complicated question because of that. First, because it's a thing that happens in the script. It's an event that happens in the story. She is being stalked by this unknown person outside the bar. And then, of course, like sound effects, things you hear from the outside, his
One of the best camera techniques to achieve the eerie feeling of being stalked is to show the victim from the stalker's point of view.
One of the most powerful things in suggesting, something, it also is classic. It's even in Jaws where it's the point of view of the shark. It's the point of view of the person. So you don't see the person, you don't film the person, but you suggest the point of view of what that person or shark is seeing at that moment. An example would be when she's cleaning and sort of dancing a little bit on the jukebox, we hard cut on the outside suggesting, is she being watched right now? Is this the point of view of the person looking at her? If not, why am I watching this? This looks like she's being watched.
We see multiple shots filmed from a high angle with items in front out of focus. The high angle gives a feeling that the victim is powerless or less powerful than her stalker. And by having out-of-focus elements in the foreground, you understand that the stalker is hiding out of Kristen's sight, but can see Kristen very well. A lot of shots are filmed in a hallway or through the door frame, giving the viewer a very claustrophobic feeling. The stalker seems to be watching her from everywhere at all times, with nowhere to hide from him. When Kristen is at her lowest, giving up all hope, she's filmed through a door frame with a wide shot. The hallway is dark and the only room lit up being the one that she's in. The camera slowly zooms out, making the darkness of the hallway absorb the entire shot. American horror writer H.P. Lovecraft said,
The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear. And the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown.
In Kristen, we never see the stalker. We are only given hints through shadowy silhouettes, leaving his appearance up to our own imagination. And nothing is scarier than one's own imagination. This trick is mostly done by clever writing and precise camera positioning.
For me, what's creepy is what you don't see. That's usually my main objective to modern horror movies today. Because of CGI, you can show a whole lot of stuff, but usually what you suggest and what you then have to create in your brain is way more effective and more like, oh my God, because it's the image that you have to make yourself. So it's sort of like the shark idea of like Jaws. Jaws became a classic because the shark didn't work, and therefore Spielberg had to suggest the shark. And for me, it was like, okay, so there's this figure outside who's stalking, harassing the main actor, the main character, And the scariest thing would be never quite seeing who that is. That is, of course, done through lighting. We had to put someone in front of, outside of the door and have a sort of a light and find a place to expressively put that light so that person would create the perfect, like, eerie shadow. And the first time we did that, it just looked ridiculous. It's just like, that's not scary. We ultimately put a person in like a bald suit to sort of get like a contour that felt more creepy and kind of like not quite human. We did have a shot of like the shadowy figure in front of the door, but it's also slightly low angle, of course, because you want to make that like feel threatening. So through lighting and the context of the story, but also just like filming it at a low angle makes it also more scary. More, if you film someone from a low angle, somebody feels more dominant than from a high angle where they feel like small. So it's also through simple techniques like that where hopefully I succeeded in creating that feeling.
So, with that being said, thank you for your attention. Goodbye.